Well, welcome
Yeah,
to Metal Institute of Thrashology. My name's Mike, and this is Chris from LIK.
yeah, that's
Awesome, dude.
right.
I uh I listened to your whole catalog today,
Okay.
and there's quite a bit. It Your catalog is quite different too. Most bands like build upon their previous release, but it seems like all of your releases are just solid quality. And it looks like Necro's picking up right where Misanthropic Breed left off.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for that. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess you could say that. I would say that Necro feels a bit more diverse than the other three, but I guess you could say that all four of them has had a natural progression, if you will.
I'll be honest, I only heard the two songs, Morgue Rat and War Praise, and I was reading about how this is supposed to be your most diverse album. I know it comes out April 18th, and I'm stoked to hear the rest of it now. It seems like those two songs are like they couldn't be further on the spectrum from each other. So like I'm curious to see where this album goes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're gonna have a treat then, because no, I don't. I mean, since it's the latest album, of course, we are stoked about it, and everything feels good, and so far so good. We have gotten good reviews, and yeah, guys like you are just seem to be I don't know, yeah, excited. It's,
Yeah. It's Swedish death metal. How can you not be excited, right? Like
yeah, right.
There's a couple guys I talked to from Sweden, and I always ask, for such a small country, how the hell are you guys so heavy? You know, like why are you guys all pissed off? It's Sweden.
I guess it's the weather.
Yeah, maybe, but I love the guitar tone in this album. I know you're the drummer, but the guitar tone in
Yeah.
this album is just classic Swedish melodic death metal. And I was just eating it up. I can't get enough of these two songs. And I really like there's some Maiden-esque parts in War Praise. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And as far as the drummer, though, like it has to be interesting for you with so many different tempos and different feelings.
Yeah, especially for this album, there are definitely as I'm always I'm never satisfied with my own, my own stuff on any album, and I hate listening back to myself because I always hear stuff I want to change or whatever, and but I guess that's because I set the bar high, and I know that I just need to accept that was what I felt, and that was what I wrote when we made the songs, and I mean, the guys in the band are obviously they're totally satisfied, but I thought this album, when we were done, I was like, aren't the drums kind of boring? It's just like, just keeping the beat, and they were like, well, you don't have to prove anything anymore. I mean, you already done it, and everybody knows that. You can do all the fast filling and play the fast stuff, and yeah, but it's not about that. It's just I don't know what I had in mind, but now what it's gone past a few months listening back to it, just to get into it, and well, now that we have started rehearsing the new set lists and whatnot, I'm okay with it. It feels solid. It's the drums are doing what they're supposed to do, and I mean, I think the riffs on this record is more important than anything this time, and the same goes for the vocals, of course, because it's more of, I could say, in my opinion, the songs are more structured this time, if you will. I mean, more tasteful.
Yeah. But I'll be
So
honest, like even on Morgue Rat, like I always attribute the groove in a song coming from the low end, whether it be the bass or the drum. And most
yeah,
of the time, it seems to be the good grooves come from when the bass and the drums work in tandem to get a
yeah,
really thick groove. And I think Morgue Rat, just being the second single, starting off with that really, really thick bass line,
yeah,
that song Like you guys are definitely melodic death metal, but like I don't know if there's such thing as groove death metal, but there's a thick groove running through both of these songs. So it's not like you were just keeping the beat. There definitely is some soul and some injected flavor. I think more showcases yours and I can't say his name. I'll mispronounce it. Yakum?
Yeah, you could say Jocke, Jockey, or Hakim. No, no, I'm just kidding. But Moody, we call him Moody
Okay.
because yeah. But
Um,
we all the guys in the band got, I think, maybe around 50 to 100 nicknames. So because it's just fun. But yeah, well, he's a solid fucking bass player, I tell you that. And it's just a treat to be able to play with him, because it's like that is also a thing with Necro. And also when he joined for Misanthropic Breed, it was more like I mean, not to take anything away from Nille, because Nille is a fucking awesome bass player. Since he's first and foremost, he's a bass player in his foundation, because he's playing in Catatonia. But so he put the bass down on the two first records. But when Yuki came into the ranks, and he just he's a bass player, and like I said, he's a solid guy, and I'm so happy that I mean we just click. It's just there, and you can really hear it on Necro that we have kind of found each other in a way. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
because the thing is, when Lawrence mixes our albums, it's like he's already from the first album, and since then he's putting the bass pretty far up in the mix, so. And that's a good thing, because then it separates the HM2 sound, because that guitar sound is really fucking gnarly. And with that sound, you can hear, like, on older albums, like back in the 90s, with, I don't know, Entombed or whatever,
At the
the
gate.
drum. Yeah, exactly. So the drums and the guitar tone is just taking over the whole sound spectra. But with that, what Lawrence has been doing is that he just separated that and just made, yeah. Long story short, I'm really satisfied with. I mean, the sound that we have had so far on the albums, I really like it, and it's the same for the albums. The sound is also progressed into something that we all enjoy, and this time, when you think that he can't top the sound from, because we were really satisfied with Misanthropic Breed, he's just hitting the ball out of the park, so to speak. And it's I totally agree with you. There's a heaviness to it that is, we haven't had that before. But I guess that had to do with the fact that we're recording in a big room, in a big studio this time, and we are always recording as much as we can live. I mean, it's like a rehearsal.
Sure.
If we fuck up, we just start the song over. So we play through the whole song every time, and I mean, that's just so satisfying to me, because I, as a drummer, I like to see myself as a, I don't know, free spirit. It's, I mean, I do some kind of same fills here and there, if it's into a verse or a chorus, or into a solo, whatever. I could do the same fill if it's a cool fill. But other times it's just, I just play what I feel. It's,
Yeah.
oh, I want to do this fill here, and it just comes to me, and it's very, very satisfying. But this time around with the songs, it was more like, I guess I felt it's like, just keep the beat, just be like, I don't know, Vinnie Paul from Pantera, because he's a solid fucking player.
Yeah, he
But
is.
everybody knows that he can fuck shit up. Yeah, I mean, we've heard Becoming, we heard all these stuff that he's done. I mean, he's a legend. And I think that's a cool thing to have as a drummer, that he doesn't need to show off. Oh, you want to see me do some tricks? Okay, hold on to your seat, kids. Here we go. And I think that's a cool. I'm not saying I can do that, but I think that's a cool treat with the thing with like Vinnie Paul, for instance, and a lot of other players out there, of course. But yeah, I think it's important with that, all that blabbering on. I'm saying that it's a really cool thing to be so. I mean, we're very intact with each other, the bass and the drums, and that's I think that's a solid ground to stand on, and it feels safe, you know.
Do you think a lot of that may be from like now having Nilly just being able to focus just on guitar rather than
Yeah,
having his attention split? Maybe it made his like riff writing maybe that much better, and that allowed him to free up so that you and Moody could then work together.
yeah, yeah. In a way, maybe, yeah. I mean, we are a rehearsing band. We're not a typical band like nowadays. They just send files back and forth to each other, or at least a lot of bands do that. But we are fortunate enough to be able to actually rehearse like it used to be, you know, like I always been used to do it. So, and I prefer that because all four of us are like really, how could you say, I mean, emotional players. You know what I mean? We feed off each other's energy, and it's really important to us to just. I mean, it's more enjoyable to play together than sending shit back and forth. It's not That's not fun at all. I mean, the demos we make are really simple because we know that we are gonna rehearse this anyway. So
Do you think
I
that
mean,
like because like I kept listening to War Praise and there's so much melody in that. Like you hear like the Maiden influences, but with so much emotion, well, I guess the melody probably comes from the emotion, but it doesn't lose any heaviness. Like you guys aren't singing about castles and fairies.
no,
I think I was working in the garage today. My daughter was asking me, she was down there, and we were listening to one song off of Misanthropic Breed where it talks about the streets are filling with melted flesh.
yeah.
So then my daughter was like, well, if all the flesh is melted, why isn't it just flowing down the street? And I was like, physics, kid, I don't know, you know. But
It's fantasy, kid. It's fantasy.
yeah, so I was trying to explain to her, like, we can't watch horror movies because we analyze them so much.
Yeah.
But I was telling her, like, it's even like on War Praise, you hear those lighter Maiden-esque moments in the solos,
Mhm.
but it doesn't lose any of the heaviness.
Oh, that's cool. Because the thing is with War Praise is that that's actually the first song that we wrote when we started writing for this album, and I mean that's the most typical leak song on Necro, if you will. And yeah, I think first we thought that it was kind of boring to have that as the first single, or any of the single for that matter. But now looking back at it, it was a smart move because everyone was like, "Oh yeah, oh it's still leak. Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody, there was no surprises. But then the when Morgue Rat came out, everybody was like, "Oh, okay, this is interesting. All
Yeah,
right,
that's a
now we want to hear the whole album. What is going on?" Because I mean, I don't know. We talked about it yesterday when in rehearsals. It's like there's not a lot of fast songs anymore, is there? I mean, before we were complaining there's too much of the skank beat. You know, we got to do more mid pace and heavier songs. Okay, and then we started doing that, and we yeah, it turned out good. And now it was like more. Oh man, the set list is too little of skank beats. Yeah, no, but you know, but you can't have it all, right? And I mean, as long as the songs are good and the fans like it, I mean, it's all fine by me. I don't care. I mean, I love the songs. I love to play them, and we're fortunate. We could play all our stuff. We have no problems with that because we don't use anything that needs to be on backtrack or anything like that. It's like so we could play all four of them, but we need to of course rehearse like fucking idiots then, but you know we don't want to do that. But the only problem we have now, like I said, is putting a set list together. Is That's pain in the ass.
Now, do you guys mostly agree on a set list or like now on drums? Because I've always wondered this when a
Yeah,
band is forming a set list, whether it be Slayer or your, mom and pop's smallest band,
yeah.
like Did you pick songs that just feel good to you? I mean, I know you have to pick some fan favorites, but like some
Mhm.
of the other tracks that are maybe more deeper cuts, do you pick like what you like, or how do you choose?
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes it's, of course, it takes a while, but I mean, the last 2 years we've had the same two songs as openers and the same two songs as closers, and this time it was like, yeah, we started to try out stuff, but of course we have a totally new start, two new starters, yeah, for sure. But we tried out some stuff as closers, but that felt so wrong. It was just it's this is not good enough as closer. So we went back to the, I don't know, you could call it a safe zone or whatever, but it's like I said, it's hard. But uh, to answer your question is, yeah, I don't think that we don't have any issues. I mean, we try out a lot of stuff. I mean, we rehearse. And, I mean, we need to go back and refreshen our memories on some songs as well. But I guess the funny thing is that the newest songs now from Necro are the ones that have been the hardest to rehearse, because the other ones are, yeah, I mean, obviously they're old and they're kind of in our DNA, but we're getting there. I mean, there's we have a couple of weeks left before we hit the states and play at Maryland Death Fest. That's going to be our first show of the year and first time for us in the US as well. So it's, I mean, we're psyched, and there's a set list for the Americans.
I just bought Slayer tickets like 2 days ago,
All
and
right.
my wife's all pissed. She's like, oh, because I think I have like 15 shows already scheduled this year. So she's like, no more shows, no festivals. But then I was like, oh man, I didn't pick up tickets for Maryland Death Fest yet. Like maybe I have to.
Yeah, we have this there's this crazy guy. He's a cool cat as fuck. His name is Chris. A shout out to Chris Rauch. I don't really know how to pronounce his last name, but he started a fan page for us on Facebook. He is actually driving 900 miles to see us.
That's
I was
crazy.
like, yeah, I told him, man, you're insane. Well, it's your first time on American soil. I have to see it.
That's a fan.
And that's yeah, that's amazing. We were like, we gotta, I mean, wow. And the only thing was like, just as long as I can hang out with you, grab a beer or whatever when I see it. Yeah, for 900 miles, man. Yeah, I don't. We need to do something to for appreciation. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
that's
I'll buy you the beer,
nine.
man.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, fucking 900 miles. That's a long way, and he's doing it by himself. I asked him, but you're going with a friend? No, I don't want to be stuck on anyone else's schedule, so I'm going by myself.
That's a
That's fucking,
diehard.
yeah, that's die hard, man. That's crazy. But
Yeah.
that's cool. It's cool. I mean,
Well, hopefully we get you more fans in the States because your music rips, man.
thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
hopefully.
and I hear a lot of influences there from like typical Sweden, like, At the Gates, Entomb, Dismember,
Yeah.
Arch Enemy. And I seen a couple Swedish bands a few years ago. I saw Arch Enemy, At the Gates, Amon Amarth, and I want to say Grand Magus, but I can't remember. And
Mm,
man,
probably, yeah.
all their sets are just tight, and it was mind blowing. One of the best shows I ever saw. So I hope I get to see those guys again. It's almost like you guys come out of the womb with like HM2s, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so
No, but I mean,
what led
yeah.
you to drumming? Who was your influences?
Well, I was raised in a very musically interested and musical family. My dad, me and my sister, when we were younger, he had two jobs. So on like every other weekend and weekends, he sold vinyls. So he has this huge library of vinyls, and he's a music lover, and he just bought everything from there's probably not a genre that he doesn't have something from.
Yeah.
So but I grew up, my mom was a huge Beatles fan, and my dad was a Rolling Stone, and Beatles won me over. So for me, I guess it started with like Ringo Starr, and then went over. I listened to a lot of blues, and I mean that's really stuck in my DNA. I guess that's why I love to groove a lot. It has to be, it has to have that swing when I play. You know, I gotta feel it, because being straight and strict and all that, that doesn't do it for me. You know, but then of course Kiss got me hooked, and that was my path to destruction.
Yeah.
And then it just came naturally. It was Metallica, Wasp, Twisted Sister, you know, stuff like that, and then Slayer, and you know, and then just had my first death metal band when I was 14 years old with one of my best friends. Wrote shitty songs, but we loved it. And then yeah, you know, just went on from there. And I started playing drums when I was 8 years old. My mom was a piano player.
Okay.
And my dad, he played a lot of different instruments. Not as, you know, he wasn't consistent in anything because he didn't have the stamina for it, I guess. But drums, I got hooked on that, and I played a lot of piano when I was younger. I'm sad I'm not doing that anymore, because piano, I love piano, but drums just swallowed me whole, you could say. So I mean, I get inspired by so many different drummers, but I mean, for death metal, it was Nick Anderson on the two first Entombed albums were huge for me. Dave Lombardo, of course, Igor Cavalera. I mean, Sean Reinert, when Human came out, I was blown away. Still to this day, I'm blown away. And then it was like, see if there's gonna come any more cats that can do that shit that cool. And then Richard Christie did the last Death album. Was like, wow, man, shit, he can play. But I mean, of course, and then you have Paul in Cannibal Corpse. I mean, he got some cool fucking shops, and it's just these old school guys are just, you know, we didn't have YouTube. We had to listen to it. So you can
Yeah.
hear there's a difference in a modern player today compared to us older guys, if you will.
Yeah.
There's a different approach.
I just saw Igor 2 weeks ago, and it was like, man, that guy put on a clinic. That whole band put on a clinic. I mean, they're just so legendary and so
Yeah,
talented.
I love that. Was actually my first tattoo I got when I was 18 years old. My parents didn't let me because I wanted to get my first already when I was 15, and they were like, "No fucking way, dude." Okay, so the day I turned 18, I went and got a Sepultura S on my arm, because I just loved the early Sepultura up to, you know, Arise. I mean, KSAD was okay. Roots, yeah, well, but I mean, Beneath the Remains and Schizophrenia and Arise, man.
That Arise
Oh,
album, if I had
yeah.
that album on vinyl, I don't think I'd need any other album. Like it's
Ah, man, it's
so
just
good.
yeah. There's not a bad song on that whole fucking album. It's just ripping, and that drum sound. I've been trying for so many years, for so many different albums I've recorded. And I want to go with the Arise snare. Can we get that sound? Yeah, sure. Tried it with one band. I played with a band called the Resistance before, and I tried that out, and I got like an 8-inch deep snare, metal snare, and just tuned it way low, and that was so fucking hard to play.
Yeah.
And then I read an interview with him that he actually got the question for that snare sound, and he was like, "No, I don't know. I guess it was just the way that he mic'd it up down there in Florida or whatever." And I was, "No, man, you had to had it really low tune, and it was so fucking hard to play that. It was so you had that was like it was not even technique anymore. It was like just muscles in the end. It was like, damn, this is exhausting." And then you know that he's hitting it hard as fuck too. So
Yeah. And doesn't that
yeah,
frustrate you though, when like you're trying to, because you're obviously a high level, you're not like an at-home recorder. And so like you're trying to play this, and then when you ask them like, how do you do it? Like, it's nothing, and just
yeah, I know. I get the same question. I get to hear it quite from time to time when they watch us play. There's a, you know, they come up and ask me, "You seem so relaxed. It's like you don't care when you sit behind the drum sometimes." No, I'm concentrated. It's oh, believe me, I care, but I'm just concentrating.
right.
Yeah, but because you look it's like it's nothing to you. Well, I wrote this stuff. It's my stuff. I know it by heart, so it shouldn't be hard. If it's hard, then I'm doing something wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so I guess I mean that's the way it is. If you start playing in a you jump in for I've done that a couple of times. Jump in if there's a friend he can't go, whatever. Back in the day on a tour, can you fill my shoes? Yeah, sure. And then you're gonna have to learn like 20 songs that you didn't play. That's a
Right.
totally different thing. I mean,
Sure.
yeah.
Like you said that now about total relaxation, I think back, like Igor looked totally relaxed. But you see some drummers, like I can't remember the drummer's name for cattle decapitation, but he's mind blowing. And
Oh
you,
yeah.
you can see he has to put a lot of effort into like concentrating.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
it's funny
God
you
damn,
mentioned,
it's fast.
oh, so talented.
Yeah.
It's funny
Really,
you
really
mentioned the
fast.
blues though. My old man collected he collected 45s and he had
Mhm.
like 11,000 45s, but they were all old blues and doo-wop. And so to
Yeah.
this day, like he still complains about how he tried to indoctrinate me into blues and now I'm into death metal instead. But
Well, I mean, death metal comes from somewhere. It's rock and rock and roll comes from blues, and it's I mean everything. There's a red line through the whole thing. I mean, I know that I'm gonna end my days as a drummer, hopefully sitting and playing blues with some old friends when we all gray and old and whatever. But I don't know. There's just something that speaks to me about playing blues and listening to blues. It's just I just love it.
I think
It's just something.
I think there's more emotion in blues than anything else.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's all by just feel, and I just love that. You can hear it just flowing. It's fantastic. And same goes with jazz for that matter. I mean, music in general that is played with from the heart is like you know you can hear it.
I tried to get into jazz for years, and a couple years ago, my former roommate introduced me to the Alex Skolnick trio, and
Okay.
that was like he did like a lot of jazz interpretations of like "Goodbye to Romance," I think by Ozzy, but he makes it jazz, and so then like it made it an easy transition for me because from Testament to
Yeah.
jazz. And now, like, I'm starting to get more and more into it, and I really love it because I think jazz and like the blues, there's like a vulnerability for the emotion.
Hmm.
Sometimes, like, the pain of the blues makes them not only the soul and the emotion, but that vulnerability makes that music, I think, that much cooler. Like you're in some
Yeah.
smoke-filled opium den or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like the first time when I went did my first US tour, it was like I think it was back in 2003 when we came down to New Orleans. We went into one of those clubs, and you when you hear that steel guitar, and they're just sitting there alone up on a tiny fucking stage or whatever, and it's just so soulfully played, and it's just it's gnarly, and that sound is not definitely not for everyone, but I don't know, just it speaks to me. It's like a melancholy feel that is just so intriguing in a way, you know. It's just wow. And he was by himself, just and it was just amazing, amazing player.
But if you think about it, like Morgue Rat, for instance, it
Mhm.
has that like that slowed down, almost churning feel to like the low end of the bass
Yeah.
and drum together, has that same sort of blues feel to it as it's like just thick and
Mm.
soulful, you know?
Yeah, just hanging on to not like losing it, and just and I just felt it, and I put in some ghost strokes into that as well, and it was just it just had to be there. And I love when we rehearse that song. It's just yeah, this is yeah, and it's going to be even slower live, so it's really really we're just hanging in there.
Ugh.
But I like it. It's a cool song, and the video turned out fucking awesome as well.
I have to check that out. I haven't looked it up.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
Thomas, he
yeah.
did some sacrifices for that one.
I saw it just came out, what, a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. No, it's I think it was last Wednesday.
I'll be honest, my life there's so much shit jammed into my life. A day now seems like a week, you know? Like,
I know. Time flies, man. As you grow older, everything is just like since the pandemic, the years just phew. It's like what happened to 2024? I don't know, man. But it's 25, and we're already done with the first quarter.
yeah,
It feels like yeah, you don't have the time to like, and your kids are my youngest one. He turned 13 like 2 weeks ago, and it's like what happened? And my oldest one is turning 21 this year, and my middle one is 17, and it's like what happened? These
yeah,
guys were tiny little midgets just half an hour ago.
yeah.
Yeah,
Totally agree. Mine's oldest is 13, my youngest is 10. But
yeah,
they perform too, so they have like they're so busy with their rehearsals and costumes. It just
mm,
eats up time. You're constantly on the go. And
yeah.
we had a hard reset back in 23, which is what led me to start this. And so now like we have mindfully approached it with more being in the moment and trying to have more satisfaction and mental
Yeah,
well-being moving forward, you know?
yeah.
But
That's the only thing you can do, right? Is just move forward. If you get
yeah,
setbacks, it's just okay, back on the horse kind of thing.
but I think the setbacks made me stronger because now like I'm having similar setbacks and like you
Yeah.
practiced it, it's not that bad now. I
No,
can
no, yeah,
like
man.
move on.
I mean, I know what you mean. Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like if you practice it, it's like okay, it's not so bad.
Right.
Yeah,
I hate to cut it short. We're running out of time, but
yeah,
I really want to thank you for taking time out to meet with me. I really enjoyed it, and I know you're busy as hell.